Okay, Pablo, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, for your invitation. It's a big pleasure to be here.
Ha, great, mate. Well, let's get started with your early football life. And the first thing is your story actually starts with your family because your father was a professional footballer who played in Spain. And how much did that influence your path into football?
I think that plays a massive part in my willingness to be a football player because since I was a kid, you have these memories where I went to watch my father on the stadium and also to see him training on did grass, sunny grass because my first remember my first memory, yeah, my first memories were in Cartagena, so already in Murcia. So I think all these kind of things, and my dad also trying to give us the to love or passion for sports and everything. So I wanted to be a football player since I was very young, and obviously this play a big part in my life.
Fantastic answer, man. And like you grew up obviously in Murcia, as you mentioned before, Murcia. How was the football culture there when you were growing up in Murcia? Was it like a big thing with the kids playing on the street everywhere? Was it like what was it like?
It, it is years up because now I've been different cities in Spain and also in England. Uh, you you don't realize how the weather influencing this. Well, now there is not obviously everything has changed, but when I was very young, I remember going and play in every school. All the pitches were open, you can play there, and it was very easy to just find 5v5, 3v3s. You were playing all day, and that obviously to be in Murcia because of the weather is really nice and it's very sunny. You can do this nearly every day, and especially on the weekends. We spend quite a lot of time playing football, and obviously this is something related to the weather. I think that plays a big part, and also uh, when I started, we were playing 11 aside, so it was crazy to play with the. And now you think about it, you have 10, 12 years old, and you were playing 11 in a big league. Now has changed and it's different. I think it's much better now. But I remember just playing 11 in the surface was not sand. What's the word there?
Yeah.
Eh,
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Like almost like a dirt pitch, right? Like
yeah,
it was didn't have grass on it. Yeah, man.
exactly. So it was something like this, and everything has changed. Is very good now. But I remember this when you are a kid, spending a lot of hours playing with my friends with my friends and all the people and younger people in the pitches here in the school. Now that has changed, but it was like this when I was very young.
Well, mate, I'm jealous. That is a fantastic memory to have. When I was in Australia, I was one of
Mm.
the only kids who was passionate about soccer that I knew. And so I was on the oval by myself with a football, like nobody to play with me. I wish I was with
Mm.
you there in Murcia, mate. One of the most interesting parts of your story for me is that you moved to London. Is this true? Just initially just to learn English. Okay, so what really motivated your decision to go there and learn English? Why English? Why was it important for you?
Uh, since I was very young and I wanted to have a second language, and obviously English was one of the things. Always it was always in my mind. But I couldn't. I just kind of with the traditional learning process. I wasn't, and I went to the university and I finished my degree and everything. I did a postmaster degree, but I wasn't a great student. So I wanted to. At some point, I was here. I was not very happy with my situation. I was just obviously here in the club I live in Murcia.
Yeah.
I was just working with them, helping them with the coaching. I was playing here. I was just working in gym facilities and everything. So I felt like a bit stuck. So it was like, what can I get from here? And every day I wake up and I went to work and this is not something I want to do all my life. This is something that, what can I get? I can be a team leader here, but I feel like I wanted to do something else. So I started thinking, what can I do to change this? What can I do to change this? So the sudden one day I said, okay, I need to learn English because this opened a space for me to work in Australia and in USA, in England. Plus, I speak Spanish, so you can go worldwide. So I decided one day with my wife, at that time was my girlfriend. She did she was starting to be a teacher, and well, you have to pass an exam here. It's very difficult. So she didn't make it, and we decided to go to England just for to learn English because it was important for her as well, and it was very very important for me to develop my career in football. But I went there not thinking about football, thinking just I want to learn English. That was the main idea.
Wow, man! I've got to unpack this because this is gold. I think a lot of people, firstly, that are listening to this, can absolutely relate to you, man. Maybe there are a lot of people in that situation now. They feel stuck, and they're like, "Man, do I leave my comfort zone and what I know, and do I go and do this thing that maybe people in my family, maybe people that know me say you're crazy if you go there by yourself without anything." But you did this. So for people who are in this situation, thinking like you, would you recommend doing this? Would you have done it in a different way, maybe, if you could have? What do you?
100%. This is a conversation I have many times. Like, is you struggle because you got time where you are there and you think, I want to go back to my house. I want to go back to Spain. Because like you said, you go back to the comfort zone. But that there are things like they are not comfortable, but they are grateful at the end.
Yeah,
you go there, you learn the language, you learn experience, you start value things that you don't even value. And I 100% recommend to everyone to if you are thinking about this, just to make the step and at least try, because house is going to be always there. We will always have someone, your brother or mother or father or friend that could get you back in Spain, and you can easily start again in your place. So this 100% is a thing that obviously I will encourage my sons if that's possible to do these kind of things and to have this kind of experience, because it gives you something different. Always people tell you need to travel, and you don't know why. But as me, that when you go somewhere else and you start knowing the culture, you start knowing different ways of thinking, that opens you a new world that you don't even know that exists. And probably you might know as me.
Yep. Pablo,
When you move to this.
Nate, I'm getting like goosebumps because you are speaking directly to me, man. This is exactly how I feel, man. My auntie, when I was in Australia, said to me, "You have to travel. You have to travel." I never understood why. She's like, "You have to get away from your family. You have to travel." Finally, I did, and I'm like, "Wow, man, I understand." It's almost like you evolve to like another level of human. It's like it's crazy, but hard to describe unless you've done it. But yes, 100% agree with you and your answer there, man.
Michael, I would point something. It's different. It's different to travel, to visit places. Maybe I go to Paris and I visit the Torre Eiffel and everything. And okay, that's cool. But to travel for me means you go there, you live there.
You live there.
I
100%.
live minimum 3 months, because you start knowing people, you start to understand, because we might not understand things, or we behave a way that they don't see is right, or we use words that they don't use. And I bought something that is very interesting. For example, I used to work with Nigel Pearson. That for me is a really good example for me. It's kind of a reference for me. And I was calling him Nigel or Pearson, something like this, like Pearson. You want to tell me off? I said, no, that's a way for me to express my respect, to call you by your surname. It's like in Spain. In England, it's kind of, you're going to tell me off.
Yeah, exactly.
Not, this kind of thing that is always in my mind, that these little things are things that make you think that, oh, there are different ways of thinking, way different in this.
Thank you so much for making that distinction, Pablo, because you're absolutely right. When you travel just on holidays, it's possible just to live in a bubble the whole time, but when you actually have to live there and be there, that's when you really discover things. Like, well, Nigel Pearson, that is such a good story, by the way. And everybody knows who he is, very famous coach. And when you were there in England, you had this opportunity at Watford. It actually started through a coach friend who I think brought you into the women's team there at Watford. Is that correct? So how did that situation actually develop while you were studying English? Like, what happened?
It's a big long story. I want to try to resume. So basically, I met this guy when I first went to England. I wanted to play football. I started playing football there.
Nice.
In London. So, but it was very, very difficult. That's another thing that you start realizing. In Spain, it's much easier to play football.
Wow.
Because the distances are shorter. There are so many teams in every town, in every city. There are many clubs that you might travel here 15 minutes away.
True.
By car, and you find a club where you can play. They train 3 times a week. Good facility. So I met him there. He was the head coach there, and it was just very short period. It was not even a month. His name is Arman Kabacha. He's from Albania. From Albania, and he was a very nice guy. He treated me very well. He wanted me to play there, but it was very difficult to travel every day, nearly an hour to train, to come back 1 hour, and then I was working full time. It was crazy. It was mad. So I met him there.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 years later, I did my buddies in football, and I was looking for somewhere to do my practice, my apprenticeship.
Your apprenticeship. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I just contact him, and I was just contact every club in England, every single club in England. I was contacting them, and I was trying to have an opportunity just to do internship. So all of a sudden, this guy came to my mind, and I was just contacting. I found him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I contacted him back again. So he gave me the opportunity to work in there. It was just to help with the academy. He was in under 12. We made good relation, and after that, he came to Spain. He asked me to visit a club. I'm just going too long. Sorry.
No. Let's get going.
He asked me. I was working in a company that was real track system. It was related to GPS system.
Okay.
Because this GPS system, I was kind of very into it. I learned a lot about it. So I was just they hired me to have a person in London, so I could travel very easy to different clubs.
Nice.
So long story short, he asked me if he can come to Spain because I have friends here, just to see to know the country, to know the clubs and everything, to see new things. So he came to my house. I just offered him to come to my house. We were traveling around. We were to different clubs, and while he was there in my house, he received a call. He hung out the phone, and he asked me. I just got a call from the club. They want me to take over the first team ladies, the women's team.
Nice.
And he asked me, "Would you like to be my assistant?" So I just said, "Yeah, why not?" It was a massive experience for me. It was just, I was over the moon, to be honest. I didn't expect to have this experience, and obviously it was really, really nice. So basically, it was a friend. No, he's my friend, a person I met at the beginning, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And during the time, opportunity came up, and everything like it was very, very random. But imagine, it's not that it wasn't related to CV, it wasn't related to study. It was just related to know people, and also he had to see something on me just to either, I don't know, education, or I don't know, something that he got his attention to ask me to be his assistant coach, which it was amazing.
That, Pablo, you say as well, you said it was random, but I don't think it's so random. Like, let me explain, because with other coaches I've spoken to, really, it's like the preparation meets opportunity. Okay. And in this case, it was like that opportunity where perfect timing. He's in your house, you're with him, he receives the call, great. But if at that moment you hadn't built the relationship, built the trust, showed yourself to be a professional, done all the groundwork before that, he receives a call and he just tells you he's got this job and thank you for your time. He does not offer you a job. So, mate, there is a backstory where you have to do the work before that opportunity comes. So congratulations with that, man. And then from there, you eventually moved into the men's first team environment. So what did you learn from that transition into the first team of the men?
What did I learn? What do you mean, what did I learn?
So, like,
there's so many things that
of course. Like, what did you learn in terms of what people think? Okay, this is what I really mean. The daily reality inside an English professional club compared to what people, before they start working there, what they imagine it to be like, but what it's really like at a men's, professional English club? What is it?
The first thing is the amount of people that work around. This is crazy. I think it's mainly in England. England, they got so many people there. You got a doctor, you got seven physios, you got a performance coach, you have two, three guys working in the gym, like also a sports scientist that work there. So it's the first thing that it shocked you is the amount of people that works around, three hitmans, office. That was the first thing that it blows up your mind. That the first. And apart from that, it's just to work alongside so many people. I think that's one of the main things that you have to be able to deal with kind of situation, to be able to be open minded, to be able to communicate. So there are so many things. But mainly that's the first thing that shocks you is the amount of people that work around.
Yeah, you have no idea. Exactly. That's a really good answer. And when you watch these documentaries as well, the kit men, the people that even prepare, like there's so many people behind the scenes that you don't even know about. But you when you're talking about the people that you worked with as well, that's a perfect segue for me to ask you. You worked under coaches like Javi Gracia and Quique Sanchez Flores, who are big names in the football world. What did you learn from those guys? Like, what's some takeaway?
Yeah, there are so many things. Like
Yeah.
there, I think I've been just thinking when I work with a coach, just what just to open your mind, listen,
Yeah.
and take everything you can from each coach.
Yeah.
In this case, there are many things or detailed things, but they are completely different. Javi is different to Kike. Kike is different to Nigel. Nigel is different to Kaden Moon. That was a couple of weeks there as well. Different to John Perez Bolo. So from Javi, I would say he's very detailed and completely different to John, which is more kind of go ahead, play or whatever. Javi's more into more
Controlling.
controlling. Yeah. So you learn from each one different things, and obviously different. Kike and Javi might be similar in a way, but Kike he's surrounded so many people around. I think as a coaching staff, he had that. If I'm not wrong, 6-7 coaching staff around, which is huge. It's not very common. Javi, he came with 1, 2, 3, 4 assistants, software assistant coaches, and Kike had 7, something like this. That would be a big difference. Also, the system, Javi was playing 4-4-2, Kike was playing 5-3-2. So that was new for me as well. So you get into different details.
Wow, that's so good, mate. And you've obviously learned something from every one of those guys. And someone you just mentioned there was Jon Perez Bolo. Yeah, this is one of the coaches. When you returned to Spain and you worked with him at clubs like Ponferradina, Oviedo, Burgos, like these clubs as well, right? What was it like coming back to Spain from England? Was it a big difference in the professionalism, in the standard of football? Is it very similar? What's it like? These differences.
Main thing that shocks you is the facilities. In England, they invest a lot of money in facilities. That's the first thing. I went to La Ponferradina, which is a very familiar club. Also, the amount of people that works around is also very few compared to Watford at that time. And facilities imagine in Watford we had 5 pitches to train, plus the stadium. In Ponferradina we have 1 pitch to train, like 30 meters more to do the warm-ups and just the stadium. So there were not many. That's the difference in facilities, and also with people that work there is like very, very few.
Yeah.
And in terms of football, I would say, obviously this is very obvious and everyone knows, is that physically, you can see the players, completely different profile. They're more physical, like fast pace and running up and down is different. In Spain, you might find this type of profile, but I think it's more tactic, it's more technique. fatigue. That would be the main difference.
100%. I had that same experience because I was in England for a while, and then I come back here to Spain. Obviously, I played football here, and the thing I found, I don't know, like this is a bit of a stereotype because I have not played in many different teams, but something that I noticed was in England, very physical. They run a lot, they work hard, they do all these things. But when you come here to Spain, it's almost like they don't need to run so much because they're more like they think a little bit more intelligently where to position themselves. They're very good tactically. Like they don't run it. I was running twice as much as another guy, but he was getting the ball twice as much as me. Like it's just crazy. So also, you had your first experience as a head coach because up until now we've been like assistant, but then you were the head coach with Cartagena B. Is that true?
Yeah.
And how different is that responsibility when you're the main decision maker? And do you prefer in the future? Would you like to continue being a head coach, as assistant coach, something you're more like comfortable with? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I'm just building on myself to be a head coach. That was my idea since I started in professional football. And my thoughts because I think your changed also. So your change, your mind, your thoughts always change.
Perfect.
Now, for example, if I want to be a head coach, now I'm preparing myself to be a head coach, and I'm trying to get as many experience as possible, surrounded with professional people where you can learn a lot. And the differences between to be assistant and to be the head coach is so you have to also deal with the coaching staff.
Yeah.
That's something that you have to be very, very well organized, and you have to be able to delegate.
Yeah, delegate. Good word.
To other people.
Very
And it's difficult because you might want things in your way, but they don't think the same way as you. So you have to be also be able to adapt the way they do things, and also to try to learn, because sometimes we think that our way is the best way, and you might, if you let people work, if you trust in these people and you let them work, you will learn a lot as well. But it's also difficult to organize all these kind of people, and also obviously the players look at you differently when you are assistant and you are the head coach. Just the name itself of your role, it changed the way they behave in front of you. So it's
totally.
it kind of they obviously you need to show this that you are, or they have to respect you, no? But to start with, they see you as a head coach and they respect you, or they look at you different. I don't mean that they don't respect you when you are assistant coach, but they are more careful the way they behave, the way they talk to you, the way they approach to you,
100%.
and the opposite. So I remember just trying to chat with a player, and it was like very, like not very open to talk. And I work with a psychologist, and I just mentioned this to him, and he said, "Pablo, your change has role. It's not the same to be assistant coach. They see you young, they see you that they can talk to you, but when you are head coach, it's changed completely."
Mate, what you said is 100% true. I'm thinking of my experience in my playing career. Every time the assistant coach was like almost like the friend. Okay, so it's like you've got the head coach, the assistant coach. Assistant coach is like the mother who's the friend, who's a bit softer, who you can speak a bit more naturally with, and then it's the dad, the head coach, who's like you have to be careful. You have to have a little bit more distance, a little bit more respect. It's so true, mate. It's so true. Very good.
That would be the main. So the main aspect I would mention. Also, obviously, when you have to make the decisions, and you have to be very, very prepared for everything. You have to think ahead more than when you're an assistant. When you're an assistant, you might have things ready, but imagine they get you an interview after the match, so you have to be very, very careful what you say, because you might put an excuse, or you might tell something wrong about the players that they might take it badly. Obviously, you see, I try to also analyze a press conference from coaches. All this kind of thing that is more. You have to be more prepared. You have to have more background, more knowledge about so many things, because you might make a mistake, and you lose the team. Yeah, well.
Exactly. Mate, you're well
That would be the main one of the main things.
Wow. And I'm sure this has influenced as well. All this experience you're talking about is a big influence in why you are still studying. And now you're studying psychology even more. And, obviously this to understand all of these things that is so important, the psychology of this. And just you were mentioning there, the press conferences, and you studied press conferences and the answers. Do you think, maybe off the top of your head, this is a random question, but are there any coaches who you feel do very well in press conferences, or maybe for the other side, ones that maybe are not so have had problems with press conferences? I'd love to know.
Well, I would just mention Ancelotti. I think he's very calm. He doesn't give too much information. He doesn't speak much. I think that's that's a strength.
Yeah, me
To
too.
be honest, if they say, well, or they say no, that he doesn't give much detail. I think it's a strategy. You don't want to, because the more you speak, the more you can. There's a saying that say the more you speak, the more you can get wrong. Something like this in Spanish.
Yeah, or we say in English, the more you speak, the more you can put your foot in your mouth. Like you can you make these errors, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I would just highlight Carlo Ancelotti as a reference, and obviously Guardiola give more details, and he's more like you can see, the top coaches that they have experienced a lot of press conference. They have so many games in the background. They are more calm. They know what to say. They won't maybe just give a boost to the team, or just give a praise to a player, or give a praise to the subs. So it's always or Mourinho also. Mourinho might be a little bit aggressive, but I like the way he communicates a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I agree. I feel like Guardiola comes in with a clear, like purpose for what he wants to say, whether it's to make a player feel better or highlight something. Mourinho seems a little bit more like, or not authentic, but he wears, we say in English, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He says what he really feels a lot of the time, which can be a problem, but it can also be a good thing. Good answer, man. English clearly played a big role in your journey. So how important has this language been for your career? And was it a challenge when you first started working in English? Like, I'd love to know.
Yeah. Obviously, the language is massive for everything. I think, for example, I now want to learn French. I want to learn Italian.
Nice.
And as you mentioned, one of the things I've been into it a lot is communication, and that plays a key part. So to be able to, obviously, to open the opportunities, language is very important, especially English is very important. It's very, very important, because you might go to, I don't know, Switzerland, or to Sweden. So places that the main language is not English, but you have to communicate in English. Also, for example, to Emirates, to all these places, if you speak English, you can get the job there if the opportunity comes. So it's English for me is one of the language that he opens you more opportunities.
Yeah, very good answer, man. Yeah, I agree. And I've got like a lot of friends like working in Nepal, Singapore, these India, these countries, and they're all speaking English, in China as well. So another one. I'd love to know, if a Spanish speaking coach listening to this podcast right now dreams of working abroad like you have, what advice would you give them? Yeah, what advice would you give a Spanish speaking coach who's listening to this podcast now and says, wow, I want to do what Pablo has done, like work overseas and do these?
But I think that's a difficult question. Advice. Well, I don't know. I think we touched at the beginning. You need to be like very, very demanding to yourself.
Wow. Yeah, good.
I think that's the first thing, because to learn a language you have to put time, and you have to. We tend to find excuses with everything. No excuses in that way, but I will do later. I will do this later. So sometimes it's not comfortable to sit down and spend 1 hour, or to your time. You have to be very very consistent, and it doesn't come to motivation. It's obviously the motivation has to be there. You have to know, or you need to want it, or to learn the language. But at the same time, there are days that you don't want to do it, and you have to do it every day. Every day, just do a little bit. Just talk to teachers, talk to people. Just surround yourself about the language, because it's very important, and also um, just to not to focus. Obviously, you need to focus in tactics. You need to focus in conditioning, and you need to focus in. So there are so many things that you can help with the coaches, that you have to be very what's the word, academic in a way, but also have experience. So it's just everything. You might learn things in the book, but you have to put in practice. So
Exactly.
last season, for example, when I was just I was off one year. I had a break for one season. I was just helping here to coach in the under 19s here in my city town. And he was the head coach, so I just tried to help him in the things that he needed. So I tried to be active, so I could put things in practice. Obviously, not trying to step over him, but just to to put things in practice. And there are so many things. And so, but as an advice, I don't know. It's obviously the language is key, and also the formation. Now I was trying to find a way. The formation is also key.
Yeah. No, but you've just given some great advice there, man, without even like realizing it. You're saying, knowledge is important, but it's very important to put it into practice. I agree with that completely, and as soon as possible, really, because
Yeah.
otherwise it just disappears. The second thing that you said was, which I so agree with, and I think any person who has achieved something in sport, like we know this is true, that motivation is something that comes and goes, but the consistency is what you need. Like, just you want to do it, you don't want to do it, it doesn't matter. You do it every day at this time of this. Yes, that's how you progress. It's fantastic, man. Very good advice. I agree with you. And what are your ambitions for the future in football? What would you like to do? Yeah.
My ambitious,
Yeah.
I would say, I just mentioned I want to be a head coach at some point.
Yeah.
I don't dream to, well, if comes, it comes. But I think that because I have experience already in professional football, it's something that I tried to, like a few years ago, I tried to look into myself and just start questioning why I'm doing this and what's the purpose of this. Because everyone has a purpose. When you have this kind of motive to move to somewhere, you need to understand why. Because I didn't know we touched it also at the beginning of the interview with my dad. That was the first thing I had in my head, and I think, why I'm doing this? Like, it was my dad's experience. It was my dad. So I'm doing this because I want to praise him. I'm doing this because I want. What was the reason behind?
So good.
When so right now I would like to be a head coach, but in a way that I enjoy, because the higher you go, it doesn't mean that you're gonna enjoy more. And that's something I think a coach mentioned this in an interview. So you might be happier in lower levels because you enjoy more. The higher you go, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be more happy. So my ambition now is just, like I said, keep learning, keep growing, and after we'll see if I want to keep being a head coach, and where. That's not obviously close home. It would be perfectly, but we financially we need to also understand that we live in a world where we need financially. You need also with two kids and a wife. So I don't know. I don't have kind of big ambitions to be, head coach in Segunda División in Spain. No, that it happens perfect. But if I just want to enjoy.
Yeah.
That's I think that's ambitious, to enjoy football.
Wow.
That's the
Oh, mate, that answer makes me think, honestly, Pablo, that you are very self-aware. You've obviously done a lot of introspection because even the question you asked before, not many people ask that question.
Mm.
Why do I really want this? And is it because of something that I saw? Like, am I living my parents' dream, or is this
Yeah,
really
yeah,
what I want? And what
mm,
really would make me happy? And why do I need to coach at a Premier League level? Is this just because of my ego, or is
mm,
it because really it's something that I passionately want? Like, you could
yeah,
be just as happy coaching in, a local league. Like, it's so true. They're questions I think every coach, every person needs to ask about why
mm,
they're doing what they're doing. So, man,
yeah.
fantastic way to finish this. I love that. Pablo, thank you so much, man, for sharing your journey with us today. Your story is a fantastic example, man, of curiosity, education, a willingness to step outside your comfort zone, move to other places, open doors in this profession. And man, I'm sure many Spanish speaking coaches or anyone who is listening to this podcast will find a lot of inspiration, man, in your path from Spain to England, back to Spain again. And guys, follow Pablo, because his career, I'm sure, will go, to places which will, I'm not going to say which will be like, the top, but which will make him happy, because this is a person who knows what he wants. So Pablo, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Have a great day, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.